Happy Monday, Inspire Beauty. I don't know if you can hear her on your end, but that startles me every time. Yeah, you can. Recording in progress. Got it. We're recording. Then I know it's confirmed. In the chat, you guys, I shared, if you hopped on after I put it in the chat, I said, tell us one thing you are excited about this week in the chat. Kristen is excited for this month's book. Hello, I'm so excited. That's a perfect segue for me to shamelessly plug that in. We are switching gears. Personal development and professional development are both PD, right? And as a teacher, we would do a lot of professional development, but we never, ever did personal development in the school system. And I thought that was so interesting when I came into the Beachbody world, because I realized, wow, like there's so much growth inside of me still that comes alive when I start to read perspective and viewpoints of other people who have like paved the path ahead of me, right? And so personal development is so amazing. And we've been pouring into so much of that in 2021 as a team. So many good books we've been just digesting together and allowing to work through and in us. So I decided to switch gears and go into more professional development for our team. So this one is very network marketing based. I'm going to tell you, I've never read it, so I don't know. I will be reading it right alongside of you. And there will be things that I'll be reading at the same time, right? And so I want you guys to be open to this book. Be open to a book about network marketing, about multi-level marketing, about direct sales. It's all the same thing, just different ways to call what you do. Okay, I want you to be open to reading a book that will help you move forward in your business this summer. Can you be open to that? I hope so. I'm super excited for that. That kicks off on Saturday with me and Tuesdays with Leah. Not this Tuesday, Leah, right? Next Tuesday? Correct. So tomorrow, not so much. Let's see. Time with little sister. Yay, finishing up. Let's get up and starting 3-week yoga retreat. Love it. Yes, Annie, last full week. Whoop, whoop, you're getting there. Swimming lessons, so fun, Nicole. Shows back at the, wow, yeah, Leah, your heart must be full with shows back at the winery. Yep, my book's coming tomorrow, so excited. Last week, working 2 jobs. Get it, Chelsea. Oh my gosh, yes, new full-time job on Monday. Yay, love it. Congrats, ladies. This is amazing. Hey, I'm so excited to see so many faces tonight. If you are missing somebody from your team, or you're missing one of your success buddies in this team, somebody that you love in this community and you think they need to be on this call, go send them a personal message while I'm kicking off some announcements and let them know we're keeping their seat warm, okay? So tonight you get to hear from me, but we've got some amazing guest speakers lined up for June, so you don't want to miss Mondays, okay? I promise you that. One of my goals this year was to get off the mic more and to give it to people who are who are very successful in their business in so many different ways. I know that I have a wealth of knowledge to share, but when you continue to hear from the same person, sometimes it becomes like white noise, right? I kind of sound like the peanut teacher and the wah, wah, wah. So I want you guys to always hear things from different angles, because part of the reason I love events like Summit is you get to see yourself in someone else's story, right? And so there might be things that I say about my story, my journey, that you're like, that's just not me and I just don't vibe with that. But I promise you, there is a coach in your shoes in this business somewhere. I promise you that. You are not alone, right? Whether it's motherhood, first-time motherhood, postpartum, older, younger, in the middle, not having kids, working full-time and building a business, like navigating depression, navigating postpartum depression. I don't know what you're navigating in your life, but I guarantee you there's a coach in this business. That's why these Mondays are so powerful. That's why National Wake Up Call is so powerful. So next week we have a 10-star coach speaking, Ashley James. She's going to be telling you guys how she built a 10-star business while working full-time. So for all y'all out there who are like, hey, I'm just too busy, I can't be successful if I'm not doing this full time, remove that lie and that limiting belief and that mean girl and come to next week's call. The following week after that, everyone, all hands on deck, should be here for this. Discount, hobby, business building. I don't care what kind of coach you want to label yourself at, but Kat, the modifier from programs like 21 Day Fix and 9-Week Control Freak, she's taking the mic on the 21st, and I can't stinking wait for that. And then we're wrapping up the month with a good friend of mine. She's a mama. She's just so great in this business, and she's just building a team her way, Larissa, and she's going to be on the mic at the end of the month. So lots of good things coming down the pipeline. We also have I almost said salted caramel. No, cookies and creamy Shakeology. It's vegan. No cookies added, Okay. But it's coming on the 22nd, which is 2 weeks from tomorrow. So mark your calendars for June 22nd. If you need to shift around auto ship this month because you really want it to ship in June, so you need to like pause your Shaco order so that you can get it on the 22nd, make sure that you're coordinating that in your Team Beachbody, account. Or if on the 22nd, you're like, okay, I want that to be my July order, then make sure when the 22nd hits that you go in there and pause or whatever, switch flavor shipment options. Okay. But I guarantee, like, there's not a flavor I haven't tried. Right. So this is just good business practice to go get a new flavor and try it and see. If you're unsure about it, I get packets, right? Because then you can always use those as giveaways to people and whatnot. I believe it's ready for auto ship on the 22nd. Absolutely. I don't know if you can actually physically go in there and update it for that yet, is what I'm trying to say. So you might want to pause your order. And then on the 22nd, you manually have to go in and be like, I don't know if you can change the flavor in the back office yet. Okay. And last thing is 645 is coming for coaches on July 6th. Okay, so that's Amwala's newest program. I'm so stinking excited about it. That comes for customers on the 20th, I believe, and coaches on the 6th. So that's kind of where we're at for updates and things like that, guys. But I've got a word tonight, and it's not going to be boring at all. At least I don't think so. Let me get my screen share going. I'm gonna I hate closing us because I like to see your beautiful faces, but I also want to make sure we see the whole screen. Can you guys see the whole screen? You okay? Can you move things around? Okay, so tonight we're talking about income producing activities with impact. Okay, here's the deal. I'm sure if you've been around for more than a day, you've heard about a tracker, you've heard about working your business, you've heard about inviting people, you've heard about connecting with people. And for what it's worth, it can be this thing that we either put on a pedestal and we convince ourselves that it's just too hard and too scary to do. Okay. Or it can be something, if maybe you're really great at it, that becomes just like a checklist and a to-do list, and it just becomes mundane. So we've got like two ends of the spectrum, and I'm speaking to all coaches tonight. So even if you're a brand new coach and it's the daunting task, I'm talking to you, but I'm speaking all the way up to the veteran coach who simply might just be checking off boxes. Tonight, I want to make it more than that, more than checking off boxes. We listened last week, if you're doing June 30 Strong with us, we listened to Trent Shelton last week in our podcast recommendations. And last week he talked about 3 types of people, and this really stuck with me. And if you haven't heard it, I would definitely go give it a listen. If you have heard it, I'm sure you're like, yes, that was so good. But he talked about 3 types of people. And he said that there are wishers. I'm sorry, let me back up. There are watchers, there are wishers, and then there are workers. And a quick recap is a watcher, somebody, and I'm sure you can think of someone right now in your mind that just simply watches you every day, show up on social media and watches your journey, right? And they don't want to join or do anything. They just want to watch you do it. I guarantee you can think of a couple people, right? Then we've got our wishers. Those are the people that they watch and they wish they could do the thing, but they don't actually do it. And then we have our workers. Those are the people there are dreamers who are actually doing the things. They're taking action towards their goals. We talk about this all the time when we're talking about our journey, how important the goal isn't the prize is the process, falling in love with the activities, bringing joy to the journey. That's what's important, because if you can get that down, if you can get consistency towards your actions down, the goal is going to happen, right? We know this. And so he talked about those 3 types of people. And immediately, of course, I'm sure if you heard the podcast, you probably immediately thought about it like your challengers, right? Like people who watch you on social media, they never want to join you. The people who wish they could do it, but they always seem to come up with some reason that, they're standing in their own way. And then you've got the people who are the workers, the people that joined your group, they got the challenge pack, they're showing up in your community, in your BOD group, right? So you could probably easily think of those 3 types of people. And the cool part is, if you're on this call tonight, all of you have figured out how to go from being a watcher of someone else's fitness journey to progressing to becoming a worker on your own. So you can like clap for yourself tonight, because you've gone through that growth. You've gone through that progression. But this is what I'm going to nudge you with tonight, is that what about the business? Do you watch coaches have successful businesses on social media and just continue to mindlessly scroll and watch other coaches do what you want to do? Or maybe you don't just stalk them, but you actually have it laid on your heart. You wish, oh, I wish I could do what they do. I wish I could be as successful as they are. I wish I could get my team to, go 3-star, 4-star. I wish I could do that. Or are you a coach that's working to achieve your goals? So there's the gut check, right? We can be wishers or watchers. We can be wishers and we can be workers. And here's the good news tonight before you're like, well, you kicked my dog, Britt. The good news is you can be, if you were able to transform, because I guarantee, again, think back to like old you, before you joined Beachbody, were you just kind of lurking and watching somebody for a little bit? Chances are probably, right? What about that version of you that grew into the person who didn't just watch and wish, but then you turned around and you started working? If you could do that in your fitness, I have zero doubt that you could also do that in your business, right? So tonight we're going to talk about making this more than checking off boxes. And we're going to turn from the people who just watch other people build great businesses and wish we could build our great business. And we actually turn to the people that like are sold out, love working on building a great business. A little perspective. These are so fun. A little perspective, you guys. I wanted to share this because when I speak on other calls, I tell my story more often because they don't know me. And so when I speak on our calls, I don't usually tell my story and my journey, but I want you guys to have a little perspective right now. You are here tonight with me because someone invited you. Everyone is sitting here because of someone else's sacrifice of time, of energy, of the like discipline and consistency to follow up. Some of you had to be followed up with for a long time. In the chat, share, like, did your coach have to follow up with you a lot? Did your coach invite you more than once? Did you watch your coach for a while? Most of you aren't the unicorns that just jump into this business all in and say, sign me up, right? A lot of people have to be followed up with for quite a while. So the perspective is that you had to be invited, but you have to understand that your invite is also a ripple effect of my coach's invite to me. That if my coach didn't actually reach out and invite me. I want to note that she didn't reach out and invite me. The way I started my journey, you guys, is I was doing Insanity. I had purchased it on Amazon. Thank you, babe. I purchased Insanity on Amazon and I was doing it. And I didn't love social media. Like I liked to be on it and stalk people. Remember, I was a watcher. Brittany was a watcher back then, like 7-8 years ago. Britt was a total stalker watcher. Okay, that's pretty cool perspective to think about. Well, 7-8 years ago, I was watching her do Insanity because I was doing Insanity and I was watching her for inspiration. She chose to show up every day on social media, no matter what. She chose to share her journey every single day, no matter what. And then the ripple effect is that when I was ready, she was the one I went to. She never invited me. I went to her because I was silently stalking her. I didn't even like her stuff. I didn't want anybody to know. I was just watching. So the other perspective is that like, there are people watching you right now that are just waiting till they are ready to join. Now, can you reach out and extend invites? Yes. And we'll talk about that tonight, but you can't dictate when someone's ready. And I picked these pictures because these are a lot of firsts in my journey. And I think we get caught up in like being beginners and we get so worried about being beginners, but I want you to like feel a breath of fresh air tonight. You will always be a beginner in this business because you're always evolving and growing. You will always be a beginner in this business at something. Every day I wake up and I'm brand new at some new thing in this business that I didn't have to deal with before, right? So this is my very first post as a coach on social media here, Britt with her Shaco cup. By the way, if you're in New Coach University, I would never tell you to take a picture like this today, but it worked back then. Heyo, like, hold your shaker cup selfie. It was the thing. It's what people did. It was like reels are a thing now. That was a thing back then. This was me though. This was my first time. I was just doing it. I was just trying. Okay. Then here's first time going to Summit Brit. Again, look at me with the products, just pointing at them. I loved it. Like I ate that up, y'all. Heyo. This was my first time at Summit. You guys, I almost convinced myself not to go to Summit because I was broke as a joke. Let's be real. I didn't have the money, but I almost convinced myself not to go because I allowed something to stand in my way. And then when I realized, when my coach like pulled out every stop and everything to get us, we ended up sleeping on the floor in this hotel room with some other person so that we didn't have to pay for the hotel room. My coach, God love her. Thank God for her. She was such a champion for me. She was always such a champion for me. Thank God she was a champion for me, because when I called her and said, I'm not going to go to Summit, she didn't give up on me. She said, okay, we'll figure this out, Britt. We'll cancel our hotel room. We won't pay for it. And we'll see if there's somebody we could stay with. And that's what we did. So we could save money so that I could get to Summit. And thank God my coach sacrificed something for me. So when your coaches come to you guys and they don't have the ideal answer, how can you support them and surround them so much so that they know you believe in them, that they still come anyway? How can you do that for your people? Thank God she did that for me. Here's me at my very first Super Saturday by myself. Here's me on my very first Zoom call for our team by myself. Here's me in my very first home office. I want you to note that my wrist and my elbow are about the distance between here and the wall. Look at Frankie. This has not changed. This is still the same. He is in my seat. I am not even welcome in my own seat. Okay, but I want to show you that in the corner of my apartment, where I only had space from my wrist to my elbow, that's the only amount of space I had. I wedged a chair in there and an IKEA kitchen table that was like, IKEA, you can like make it morph to any size space. I made this tiny kitchen IKEA table turn into a desk. It was pretty much as wide as my laptop, you guys. And that's where I made my business work. That's where I launched it, was here in a place that I couldn't even get into without having to like step over and shimmy in, and like hopefully I didn't eat too many carbs before I had to sit down so my belly wasn't like squeezing myself into the table, right? What you don't see right behind this is like our couch, like literally right there pressed against. I made it work in a corner of my apartment. This is the first time I walked on stage. This is the first time I was able to gift my husband a trip to a free trip for Success Club incentive. And you can see the progression, you guys. You can see the woman who started, this business with no clue what she was stinking doing at all, and no confidence in herself. When it came to health and wellness, I didn't believe in myself when it came to being a coach for others, when it was about health and wellness. And then you can see the progression. But again, there's still firsts along the way. There's so many firsts along the way. And this is a lot of like cute, fun firsts, like my first post, my first summit, my first Zoom call, my first, trip, my first time walking on the stage. What I'm not showing you here, the first time a coach canceled, the first time a customer returned their challenge pack and I lost Success Club points. The first time I built and helped a coach grow their business to diamond, 1-star, beyond, only to walk away. You don't see the times that I've been flat on my face without any hope left in me that I can do this. And you have to see that, thank God, all those moments didn't stop me from a greater purpose. Because the gift of what you're doing, when you fill out this little bitty second part right here, is life-changing for you and for other people. For your circle around you, your family and your friends, for yourself, and for all the people you bring on board with you. And I hope to God that you never quit somewhere in here. I want you to get on that Zoom call by yourself and train your team when no one shows up. I want you to get in there and go to that summit, go to that super weekend by yourself. I want you to get to the Success Club trip by yourself. and then grow a team that you can bring there with you too, right? Like, what if I just quit and I didn't allow, what if I stopped right here when I said, man, this office sucks and it's uncomfortable and my dog always steals my chair. You know what? It's not worth it. I never would have got this and I never would have got this. And there's so many others after that. I just kind of ran out of space and whatnot. But the perspective is, you guys, that the prize is the process and there's joy in the journey. And yes, it will be hard. I can't, like, I'm not going to sugarcoat something to you, right? Yes, people will say no. Yes, people have things to say about you at some point somewhere, right? But if you're constantly growing and evolving, like criticism and naysayers and fear, they become like your superpower. You learn how to accept that as a part of the process. So some things that I want to kick off with, if that wasn't kicking off enough, I don't know, are some impact statements. As we talk about, doing impact work, I want you to think about this rather than, okay, I need to check off that I expanded my network. I need to check off that I connected with people today. I need to check off that, oh man, Brittany really wants me to send out 5 to 10 invites right now. Whew, that's a lot, but I need to check it off. Instead of just talking about checking it off, I want to start really thinking about it as the impact that you're making for you and the lives around you. When I was a pretty baby coach in the business, there was a coach who was towards the top. She'd speak on national wake-up calls, and she had an incredible story, you guys. She was a teacher and decided to leave the classroom to do Beachbody full-time. She wasn't really financially there yet, but it was postpartum. Her son had just been born, her second son. And so she thought, you know what, I'll stay home with him and I'll make this business work. And the week after she found out, or the week after she resigned from the classroom, with a newborn baby and a 2-year-old, she found out that she had stage 4 Hodgkin's lymphoma disease, which is a form of cancer. And at stage 4 is pretty much, there's no coming back from that. And I loved her story because even dying of cancer, she still showed up. Even like when she probably had so much fear about medical bills and she just left the classroom and she left insurance and she left all this stuff. She built a really thriving, successful business, and she's still a coach today. She's still alive. She is cancer free. Her name's Katie Ersta. And one thing she said when I was a baby coach that has stuck with me for years, you guys, is that you will never make an income if you don't make an impact. And so tonight, these 10 statements that I have for you, they're about income via impact. Okay. So the first one is, I will get out of my own way. You, my friend, are the only thing stopping you. I promise you that, right? It's always the limiting beliefs in our mind. And it's always the fear that we have and the worry and the doubt. Can I do this? Can I make this work? But the good news is, if you're the one standing in your own way, you can get out of the way. If Kristen was the one standing in my way, I'd have to pull out some jab, right hook, some moves from, MM100 or whatever. I might have to do a little 10 rounds with her if she was in my way, but it's yourself. So just step aside, right? You're the only thing standing in your way. Number 2, I understand my journey is my job. And I put mind, body, spirit, because your journey is not just about your physical transformation. I love watching so many of you guys show up and get so much joy out of your workouts and your me time in the morning and just set the tone for the day. The mindset work is so powerful too. And then the soul set, where your heart's at, right? And so your job is to get a book and read it, right? Your job is to wake up and press play. Your job is to grow and evolve and transform. Your journey is your job. And when you start to wake up every day and think about it like that, there's power in how you show up. There's ownership in how you show up. Number 3, I know that inaction breeds doubt and fear, and action breeds confidence and courage. You hear me say it all the time, that we build confidence when we keep promises to ourselves, right? When we show up and do the thing we said we were going to do, that's how I build confidence. Every program I finish, right? Every time that I know that I've been on track in my BOD group, right? I build confidence. Every time I hit Success Club, I build confidence in myself. So every time I check off my tracker, I'm building confidence. You're in action. If you are continuing to tell yourself, tomorrow I'll have more, or I'll have more courage to do these income producing activities, the second block of your tracker, tomorrow I'll have more courage, just today I don't. No, you're just feeding the doubt. You're feeding the fear. And so tomorrow it's going to be bigger. Every time that I feel stuck, you know what I need to do? I got to move. I got to take action. I got to do something in the direction of my goals. Number 4, I understand that my mindset is my ultimate superpower, and I am a woman who is in constant growth and evolution. I think that's really powerful. Our mindset, you guys, is our superpower. It will make or break your journey, hands down. Number 5, I know that this is a gift and I must open my hands and extend it to others. We have a gift in front of us. Again, like I said in the beginning, you are sitting here because someone else opened their hands and extended it to you, right? Number 6, I will be a professional friend maker on social, regardless if they ever join me, and look for others I'd love to do life with. This goes on to how we connect, and we're going to break this down. I'm going to talk about it, but the more value you're giving people, the more you go there to simply just connect and be a light and sprinkle love on other people, the more that you focus on the social aspect of social media, right? And the more that we look for other people who we'd love to go to summit with, who we'd love to have slumber parties with, who we'd love to have team retreats with, the people that you'd love to just do life with, those are the people you want to be bringing on and finding. They're out there. I know they're out there because you guys are the people that I want to do life with. And when we go back to that picture of Britt with the Shaco cup at the very beginning, right? First picture on social, you guys weren't a part of this team yet. But you became a part of this team because I just kept showing up, looking for others who I'd love to do life with. Number 7, I'll lean into my warm market. Guys, your warm market are the people who know, like, and trust you. They are your people you've gone to school with, maybe people you went to church with, or in your neighborhood, or your family, friends, college friends, right? Those are your warm market. To create momentum in my business right now. Okay, so hear me out. If you don't have momentum in your business right now, after you get off this call, I want you to really dig into your warm market. I hear from coaches all the time, my warm market's dried up. No, it's not. No, it's not. For the third time, no, it's not. The person that's already joined me this month, I've known her for years. She's not a stranger on the internet. 8 years in this business, my warm market's not dried up. You know what is dried up? The connections that you're building with people. That's what's dried up. So lean into your warm market to create momentum in your business while you show up consistently on social so that you can build trust with new people too. It's this fine dance. You're not only talking to your close friends and family, right? You're also showing up consistently on social to be building trust with new people so that those people can be poured into that bucket as well. But it's not one or the other. There's a simultaneous dance that you're doing. I will show up authentically and be willing to try new things to see if they align with my best self. The things that align with my best self might not be the things that align with your best self. What feels true and authentic to me on social media might not feel true and authentic to you. But you've got to try something to see if it works, and you have to try it for long enough to see if it vibes with you, right? So if I tell you this is how I invite people, and you're like, that doesn't sound like that's how I'd like to do it, and then you just never do anything, that's being closed off. You have to try that thing so then you can modify that thing. You know what I mean? Number 9, I will stay consistent for long enough to see my dreams come true, because here's the secret. If you're all waiting for it, I know we come to these Monday night calls and we're like, what's the secret, Britt? I hope one of these Mondays someone's just going to give me the secret. Here it is. Consistency, time, and faith. That's your recipe right there. You're going to do it consistent long enough. And when I say long enough, I mean long enough. I mean long enough. We go to college for 4 years to get a piece of paper that tells us we're worthy to then go help someone else build their dreams. Let that sink in. You pay to go to college for 4 years to be deemed worthy to go build someone else's empire. To be told what hours you work, when, how much you get paid, what the max is, what you're worth. That's what you get. So for 4 years, you're willing, you guys, like we're willing to go to college, to university for 4 years. Yet when it comes to this business, 4 months sometimes is just too much for people. Oh, I tried it all. I tried it all. 4 months later, and then they're MIA. No. Treat this like you would a college degree. Give yourself the gift of time and consistent effort and see how that pays off. And I add faith here. A lot of people just say consistency over time. That's your recipe. But I think you have to have an unrelenting faith that it will work out for you and that it is working for you, even when you can't see it. Because that's what faith is. It's just hope in the unseen. Faith is hope in what you cannot see. So you're working consistently over time with a hope of something that you can't see yet. Last one, I'll find a system that works for me. Okay, that goes back to being willing to try new things. The systems that work for me, I'm paper and pen kind of gal. Okay, but I've only figured this out from trying things and saying, okay, let me pivot. Let me try this over here. Okay, I tried it. It's not really working. Let me go over here. I've done digital, you guys. I've done paper and pen. I've signed up for companies that do tracking for you and you pay them a monthly fee. I've done it all. I've literally done every system. So if you're like looking at a system currently for tracking and you're like, hey, I'm interested in trying that, Brittany, and we'll talk about this here in the next slide. But if you're looking at a system and wondering if it works for you, you can ask me about it because I promise you, I've literally tried every system out there. But you've got to find something that works for you in this season, because that's why things have shifted for me. When I was a school teacher, one thing worked for me because I had to pack it in me for the day, right? Like I had to pack all my bags for the day. So that system needed to be small and like pocket size so that I could take it on the go with me, right? And my system now, I can sprawl out a little bit more. I can have more like notebooks around me and things like that. There was a time when things were more digital because I needed it just all to be on my phone. It doesn't matter what it is. Find it, use it long enough for it to work for you. And then here's the kicker. Start teaching others how to do it too. Who here on this call has anyone that's joined your team? Are you teaching them how to do the things? Yeah, you've done the simple things. It doesn't have to be the complex. The simple things like, hey, I don't know why I never told you guys this before, but did you know that you can go get these spiral bound at like a store? Wouldn't you believe that I would tell people that for years and no one would listen to me? And then all of a sudden, one of my other coaches did it and everyone saw her do it. She posted it. She found that system. She posted it on our team page and told everybody about it. And what do you know, that everybody freaking went and got their stupid trackers spiral bound. And I was like so annoyed, but also so happy because thank God she went to the team page and shared that. I can't tell you, there's not a single one-on-one I get on with you guys that I don't tell somebody to leave it and go teach the team what you just told me. You guys are always coming up with things. And so teach people. You might think it's so small that you bought a ring light on Amazon, but I guarantee there's plenty of coaches on this call right now that don't have a ring light and you don't have good lighting for when you take pictures. So when you find a ring light that works for you and you love it, why not share about it, right? Same thing for your trackers or whatever. Okay, let's look at this second chunk. So there's two parts of tracking, you guys, two parts. There's our business activity tracker, which works as a checklist, right? And I spiral bound mine. No, I'm just kidding. I like to spiral bind mine at the beginning of the year. And so I print off a bunch of copies so I don't have loose papers everywhere. That's why I do this. It's here. I'm also committed for the year. I'm not committed for a week. I'm not just trying to track for a week and see if things are cool. I'm committed to tracking all of 2021 to see how I can build this team. That's it, right? So I spiral bind mine so I don't even have to think about it week by week. I just flip the page. Okay, but this is your checklist. And I have one that's a little updated. This one is not identical to the business activity tracker that Beachbody gives, but both of those are on our team page. If you go into the file section, you'll find them. But this acts as a checklist, but they also now have the digital tracker in the Coach Online office. So if you're more of a digital person and you don't need the checklist in front of you like I do, then maybe try using the digital one, okay? But those are two options. That's tracker number one. The second part to tracking though is actually tracking the conversations and the relationships that I'm building in a way that works for you. So for me, pencil and paper work, and I only track who I'm inviting. But for you, maybe you want to track who followed you this week, and you want to track new friends, and maybe you want to track conversations and relationship building. I've done that before in my business. And at this point, I just track who I've invited. Some people don't even track who they've invited. They only track people who come back and say yes. I don't love that, because I love being able to see who I can follow up with that maybe would have fallen through the cracks if I hadn't have written their name down, right? Because sometimes people get busy and they don't reply to your message, right? So I write down everybody I've invited. And if you get on our Tuesday action hours, I actually walk lately, this whole the last few weeks, I've been walking us through my personal notebook method. So if you're really curious about how do you do that, what does that look like, get on call tomorrow at 6 p.m. Central and join me so I can walk you through that. Okay. Other options I've used though over the years are Google Sheets, Google Streak, Teamsy is a service that is great, and I just stopped paying for it. So that's why, but these are things you can check out if you're like, I have no system for tracking how I'm talking to people. The other, another way to track too, you guys, is through collections on Instagram. So, underneath posts on the left side, you have like the heart button, and you have the comments, and then you can like share to stories, the little paper airplane. On the far right side, right underneath people's posts, there is a little like flag sort of looking thing. And that flag is kind of like, it works like a Pinterest board. If you've never utilized it, I want to encourage you to start doing that. You can make like little Pinterest boards on your Instagram by saving photos. So a couple of things, and then when you go to your profile page here, and you click on saved, the little flag will pop up. You'll see the save. You can see, and here's my Pinterest boards. Okay, I love it. I call it Pinterest boards because like I remember when Pinterest came out, and it was like the most exciting moment of my life, probably. Aside from becoming a coach, of course. But when Pinterest came out, I freaking loved it. And I loved collecting things in these boards. And so I treat it very similarly, but you can use this to organize people and profiles. So I organize recipes because that's just important to me. And I'm always looking for new recipes and whatnot. And I love it for meal planning. So I have a board or a collection. That's what they call them on Instagram. I have a collection for recipes. When we are going to talk about here in a second of expanding and how we follow people, a lot of times I follow them on accounts that I love to follow. But sometimes in the moment, I don't really remember who it is and what account it is. And I don't want to take 5 minutes to dig and find that account. So I have a collection called Accounts I Love. And so when I'm getting ready to expand my network and I want to go to these like influencer accounts, these bigger accounts where these people are like my people because we like the same things, I just click on there and I pick an account. They're all saved there. I pick an account and then I go from there. I also have, I'll talk about this here in a second, location, when we get to talking about expanding our network. But location is a huge way that I expand my network. And a lot of times it's by places that I visited. So places for me right now, it's more Texas focused. So if I go to a restaurant in Dallas, I save that restaurant to a places I visited collection so that later I can go there and look at who's following them and maybe follow their people because they're local, right? I'm always looking to expand locally around where I live because how cool would that be to have coaches right by your house, right? I also have collections for you guys, coaches on our team. I have collections for my challengers who aren't coaches yet. And I have this on purpose because a lot of times my team and my challengers might get lost in the mix of people that I'm trying to connect with. And so if I intentionally want to connect with my coaches' pages, I go to that collection and I can go through you guys and I can go to your pages and make sure that I'm seeing what you're doing and loving on your journey as well. Same thing with my sisterhood, so that I am a part of your lives and not just yelling at you on Monday nights through a screen, right? And then you can use them for anything. A lot of people track conversations. So you can do follow-ups. These are people I need to follow up with, or these are my new followers. So I need to build relationships with them. Some coaches do it by the month. So anyone that follows them in June, they'll add them to that collection so that all June long, they're connecting with them. And then in July, they'll start a new one for July and add their July people in there. But then in July, they'll go over to the June people and start inviting them, because they spent the whole month building connections. So coaches will build them by month. I've seen coaches organize it by week. Again, you have to play with it. You have to find the system. I actually didn't show you, but I do have one for building relationships, one for new follows, one for, oh, I have one here for caption and post ideas. Anytime I see a post or a caption that I love or a picture, I'm like, I love the way she took that picture of her coffee. How come I can't ever get that angle? I'll save it so that I can come back later and duplicate it in my own way, right? So make it work for you. I have ones for people who I think should be a coach. And unfortunately, follow up, ready to invite. I've made them for those. Unfortunately, like, or not unfortunately, I guess fortunately, I tried it long enough and I'm now in a different season where pen and paper works better for me. But there was a time where I was doing collections on Instagram. So again, I'm going to beat this dead horse. You have to find a system that works for you. Yes, I hope you're so bored with tracking. No, I hope you're inspired to take action with tracking, you guys. Okay, expanding. So let's talk about expanding. Are you bored yet? Am I boring you? I hope not. Let's talk about expanding. I know a lot of times this is where coaches feel like they get stuck on things. But I want you to remember that you're growing your tribe. It's like what I said before. It's the people you'd want to do life with, regardless if they buy anything from you. You guys, we're not sharks on social media. You're not trying to go out there and get someone to join you. I hate that word, that phrase. I'm trying to get someone in my group. No, I'm not trying to get anybody in my group or on my team, right? I'm trying to grow my tribe. I'm trying to grow my sisterhood. And I want quality people over quantity. So I'm not going to sit here and say, every day you need to follow 50 people. Every day you need to at least follow 100 people. No. I want every day you're on the hunt for quality people that you would love to have in your tribe, your coach community, your BOD group community, whatever that looks like, but quality people. Okay. Some places that are these are places that I go. I will look first and foremost at friends. Again, warm market. Guys, I've been in this business 8 years and I'm going to guarantee you that every friends on Facebook are I would say Facebook is super warm market for me versus Instagram. I have a mix of like new people and whatever, right? But Facebook is like, I probably have like actually met this person in real life would be my guess, right? So those are like, close people to me. That's my warm market. On Facebook, I don't know how many friends I have on Facebook. I'm going to tell you that not every single one of them have I ever invited, right? Like I'm sitting here today, 8 years in the business, and I have not invited everyone on my friends list. So there are still people that I can be building relationship with and invite them who are actually like real life friends of mine that I actually have probably never invited. Friends of friends and friends of friends of friends. So you have your friends. Maybe you even have spouse or significant other. In the beginning of my business, one thing I love to do is I would go to Charlie's account on Facebook and I would follow any woman that he went to high school with that looked like my jam and any woman that he went to college with and so on and so on and so on. I would look at the women that he was friends with. And first of all, he's my husband. So if he's friends with this woman, I want to be friends with a woman too. Like, hello, let's all be friends. So that was a strategy that I did. And I did that on Facebook. And then I realized like years later that I actually never did it on Instagram. And so then I went over to his Instagram account and started following the girls or the women that are following him on Instagram. So friends of friends, we have like a mutual connection. And then you can even go down the rabbit hole, the friends of their friends of their friends. How does this look on Instagram? So if I go to Kristen's account, let's say Kristen's not a coach, we're just friends, right? I'm going to go to her account. I'm going to look at her last post. I'm going to look at who's liked her post. I'm going to look at who's commented on her post. Kristen's not a coach. Remember, we're not going to do this on other coaches' pages. That's just weird and icky, right? But Kristen's not a coach. And I go to her page and I look at her first post. People have liked it. People have commented. I'm going to go to their page. I'm going to go down an intentional rabbit hole. Who here has ever been down a rabbit hole on social media? Who here has gone down a rabbit hole on social media today? Anybody? Where you're like, where did the last 46 minutes of my life go? Like, I don't even know how I got here, right? No, we're going to do intentional rabbit holes to build our network. So you're going to look at who's liked it, who's commented. You're going to go to their page and you're going to see, is this a person that's quality for me? And you're going to follow them. And that's it. You're not following them with the intention to sell them something or anything. No, you're following them with the intention to build relationships, to just expand your bubble, right? Okay. Another thing that I kind of mentioned was the location. So I love to use location hashtags or location accounts, meaning if, I follow this gal, her handle's Julia Drinks Again, and she always goes to different Dallas restaurants and like talks about the cocktails they have there and the sales and the deals and this. She's so funky. I love it. And so I follow her intentionally. This is an intentional rabbit hole because I want to see who's liking her stuff and commenting on it, because those are probably other Dallas people. But also I want to see what is she tagging? What locations is she tagging? Because those locations, I can then go and I can follow those and I can follow their followers. Those are people in this area. And if it's a restaurant that I love, then we must be like one and the same, right? Then we have something in common. And then similar niche interests, meaning, think about like it depends on what your niche or what your thing is. Like, what's your stick? What do you like? I like home renovation stuff. So I follow a lot of people who do home reno stuff. And so those are niche interests. So I'll go to their page. I'll look at who's liking, who's commenting. Why do I do this? Why do I not just go to their followers? Because I want people who are active on social media. If they've liked something and commented, then I know they're alive, right? Versus the follower that's been following them for 10 years and hasn't ever said anything. I don't need that person. Remember, quality over quantity. And again, you go down intentional rabbit holes. So I'm going to go to their commenters. I'm going to click on them. And maybe that takes me to another influencer that I've never seen before. And I like their page and I like their vibe. So I'm going to add them to my collection so that I don't forget about them, right? So that next time I go down these rabbit holes to find people to grow my tribe, I have the person right there. Okay. This is how we expand. Little by little, it becomes a lot. Little by little, it becomes a lot. You're not looking to build the next 50K account. You're not looking to go you're not looking for that. You're just simply looking for quality people who you want to do life with. People that look interesting. Okay. Let's talk about connecting. I got to get moving. Okay, guys, this is a relationship business. I don't know if you know this yet. This is a business built on relationships. Case in point, like think of our team, right? You build relationships with these people. There's people who are on this call right now that you didn't know them before you joined the team, and then you built this relationship online. The same happens as we're showing up on social. So how do I build relationships with people? Well, in my stories and my posts, that's the first non-negotiable way that I will build relationships with people, by making sure that I never let my story die, meaning I don't go 24 hours without having something active on my story. It's very rare that my story will go away. Okay. I want it to be active. And you don't want to like put all your eggs in the basket at the beginning of the day, because Instagram works in real time when it comes to stories. So if you put every post that you're going to post for the entire day in your story, your workout and your energize and your challenge group check-in, and everything, and it's all there at 8 a.m. Well, if somebody comes on the app at 2 p.m., they're not going to see you anymore, because it's in real time. So you want to slowly throughout the whole day trickle things in. So a little bit at a time. Okay, maybe your little morning routine. Okay, maybe now you're on a water challenge. Okay, maybe now I'm going to show my lunch today. Okay, now I'm going to show that I went for an afternoon walk at work to get some fresh air and I'm listening to a podcast. And okay, now I'm home from work and here's how I get dinner prepped. And now I'm on my team call, right? Like throughout the day, you're giving a sprinkle of your life. And posts, right? Daily. Guys, if I go to your page right now and you haven't posted since March 23rd, I don't know, I threw that out there. If one of you is March 23rd, I'm not calling you out. I'm calling you out, but I'm not calling you out. Okay, that was just a random date. But if the last time you posted was March 23rd, no one's going to join you. Because what truthfully, are you the kind of person that someone can count on if they haven't heard from you since March, right? And you could be like, oh, well, only a couple of people like my posts, so posts aren't relative. Okay, make them better then. Like, let's get better at our craft so that more people like your posts, right? This is you serving the people who are already fans. I think of this like a football team, right? Think of your business like managing and owning and doing all the ins and outs of a football team. I'm not a Dallas Cowboy fan, but I live here, so here we go. I think of the fans of the Dallas Cowboys, the people that watch, they have the swag, they're always watching, right? But they never buy tickets to the game. Those are like my followers. They followed me, they like me, but they haven't joined me. So they just watch from a distance. But then like the next level of that is the person that buys the ticket to the game. Those are like my challenge group people, right? They bought the ticket, they're in the stands, they're eating the nachos, they're here supporting. Those are my people who joined my BOD group, right? And then I've got my coaches. That's my team. Those are the people who said, you know what, I don't just want to get one challenge pack, but every month I want to make this a lifestyle. So those people are like in the expensive seats, like real close to the field. And then I've got my coaches like you guys. I've got my coaches like you guys who aren't just in the seats watching our team, but you're down on the field with me, right? So there's so many levels of this. And so it's about how do you serve all those things? It's okay, guys, to have fans that never join you. Think if the Dallas Cowboys shut down their operations because Billy Bob bought a jersey but never bought a ticket. Dallas Cowboys don't care. Thank God he's a fan. Thank God Billy Bob's a fan, right? You have to have people in all those stages. So it's okay to have the person that buys a challenge pack but never wants to join the team. And it's okay to have somebody that joined the team and is invested, but they're not on the field with you. The trick is, how do you get all levels of that? You just keep going. Okay. So I always connect with the people who are already watching and connecting with me. So the first place when I sit down, I'm like, okay, by the way, the mass majority of successful coaches' business is not inviting. It's connecting. Every coach that is very successful in this business that you might look at and say, man, I'd love to be like them one day, they are doing probably 90% of their business connecting. One coach I heard, she spends 4 hours of her workday is within connecting. 4 hours. She's full-time, so she has that time, 4 hours, right? So if you're only connecting with people for 5 minutes in your power hour, and then you're trying to do 55 minutes of invites, maybe flip that around and see what happens, right? Okay, so I start with the people that are watching and loving stories, posts, non-negotiable. The other thing you can do to connect is view stories that you don't often see. So I will scroll all the way down. Like, you see stories in the order that Instagram thinks you want to see stories, meaning the way you're engaging with them or the way they're engaging with you. So people who maybe you follow and they follow you, but Instagram doesn't think you really care much about each other, they're way down. So scrolling all the way down, and watch your stories in reverse. You can do that. Did you know you can watch stories in reverse? You can. You just watch that person's story until it gets to the end and then swipe so that it goes to the one before it. Just watch them in reverse, right? It's also more intentional when you do it that way because you're not mindlessly letting Instagram just go on to the next. You know what I mean? You have to be actively in it to watch their story and then swipe to the right so that you can go to the left. The other ways that I connect, and we've been talking about this on Tuesdays, is with followers using the ABC method. Meaning I will go to my followers, I will click on the followers, and in the search bar at the top, I will type a letter. I'll start at A, and I will look at all the A's. I will follow anybody who maybe I haven't been following yet, who's following me, who looks interesting, right? Who looks like my jam. I might go to the person's page and see if I've loved on any of their recent posts. If I haven't, I'm going to sprinkle love on them. Another thing I can do during the ABC method is I can go into my message thread with them and see, have I ever said anything to them? And if I haven't, then maybe I can watch their active story if they have one and get in their inbox that way. Or I can just send them a new follower message and just say, hey, I love meeting new people on social media and you just seem so sweet. Like, thanks so much for the follow. And I hope you have like the best day. Sending good vibes your way, right? Like, just not creepy, like just, hey, I'm like so thankful that you followed me. You look so amazing. Your baby looks so cute. Have the best day, right? Like, so short. So these people are there. They're like literally already at your table. So re-engage with them is basically what I'm saying. So I love to go alphabetically, and there's 26 letters in the alphabet. And like what, 30, 31 days in a month, right? You can get through the alphabet in a month if you challenge yourself. The other thing you can do is go to following. Who are you following? Sort it by the date that you followed latest, so you can engage with all the people who you've recently been connecting and engaging with and expanding with. And Instagram also has an option where when you click on your following, you can see where it shows most interacted with and least interacted with. I love to click on the least interacted with because that shows about like 50 people who you haven't really been interacting with. So what I can do then is I can do the last bullet point is I can either keep the connection going. I can like, oh my gosh, we haven't connected in forever and I really loved this person. Like, we used to connect a year ago. I can keep that connection going and give life to it again, or I can decide to bless and release and unfollow that person. And it's okay. This is how I clean out my following, as I see who's not following me back, bless and release, unfollow. Who's not my tribe? Who did I follow thinking maybe they'd be my tribe, but they're really not? Unfollow, right? All those things. Okay, let's talk about inviting. For me, inviting is hard. I'm not gonna, when we're on Tuesday calls together, I give examples of how I'm inviting currently in my business, but I hate like talking about scripting. Like, what do you say then? What do you say here? And I love how Craig, if you didn't get to hear from Craig 2 weeks ago, go back and listen to the replay of his call. But Craig really talked about it like, talk to people like you talk to people. Like when somebody's like, what do I say next? Well, what would you say next? What if you were sitting there having coffee with that person? How would you talk to them? And so I want you to start inviting people and having conversations in a natural flow, in the way that you would be wanting to be invited. I personally hate when somebody comes into my inbox after maybe I followed them today and they followed me back and they're selling candles and they come into my inbox and are immediately like telling me that they think I need candles. And I'm like, you don't even know me. You literally followed me 2 seconds ago. Like, that's so icky to me. And I hate that. So I would never, ever do that. I like building relationships with people. But I also know that if somebody's watching me, you're going to get an invite. So my best practice, you guys, is invite as casually as you'd invite somebody to dinner or drinks. A lot of times if somebody's in my, it doesn't matter if I've built a relationship with them for a long time, or this is like their third time watching my story, right? If they're in my stories watching me, I might just say something as simple like, oh my gosh, you would totally love this group that we're doing. You should join. Like that's how I'd invite you to dinner. That's how I'd invite, oh my gosh, we should totally go to this new winery down the street. Are you free Saturday? Right? Like that's how I'd invite somebody. So invite casually. The more that we make it this scripted thing where it's like robotic, the more the person's like, mayday, mayday, red flag, turn off. They're trying to sell me shit. Like, right? People get that. They can feel that from you. So if you're more casual about it, they're probably going to be more open to feeling like you actually have their best interest in mind, right? Here's the thing. If you're in my life, meaning you're watching my posts and you're watching my stories, you guys, people, you're in my house. You see my husband. You see my dog. Like, if you're in my house with me watching my story every day, you better believe I'm going to invite you. You're in my house. Like, it's not even just like, whatever, like you're watching my home, you're watching my life, you're getting an invite. And this can be so simple. Hey, girlfriend. And this is like, if you're in my life, if you loved on my post yesterday, right? Hey, girlfriend, thanks for the love on my post yesterday. I love sharing my health journey here. And it means so, so much when it's supported. If you ever want in on one of my groups, I'd love to share it with you. We have so much fun. Thanks for being here. That's like a soft invite that you can send to anybody who's watching you. Hey, girlfriend, thanks for always supporting my stories. If they're in your stories, right? I appreciate you so much. Allow this to be a natural flow. So many people ask, when do I invite? What's the right time? What's the right time? There's no right or wrong time to invite. The best time is when you think of it. So when I think to myself, I've never invited her. We've been following each other for a while. That's the time I invite. Or if I'm like, we've had a lot of conversation about our dogs and I've never invited her. That's the time to invite. I think she'd really like this boot camp and she seems like my tribe. Invite, right? The best time is when you think of it. And this is the natural flow. If you don't have anyone to follow up with, you haven't invited enough. If you don't have anyone to invite, you haven't connected enough. And if you don't have anyone to connect with, you aren't building enough relationships. So it all stems, you guys, from connecting and being a professional friend maker and showing up on social media with the social aspect. Right? It all starts from there. So let's wrap up with follow-ups. Basically, you guys, I'm going to follow up with somebody until one of us dies or they join me. Why? Because the people who I've decided for them, you know what? They told me no like 3 times. I'm not going to follow up anymore. I'm probably being annoying. I don't want to be annoying. Who's ever thought or said that? I don't want to be annoying when I follow up. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Right. or that you're bothering. Anybody feel like you're bothering somebody by coming into their inbox? Oh my gosh, how dare you? Here's the thing. When they're ready, they're going to join someone else who invites them, because that's the most painful thing. And if you haven't had that as a first in your business, that'll be a first. Don't worry. I'll give you a heads up. You can come tell me, Brittany, I had my first. When you go to invite somebody and then you feel like your follow-up is annoying, when they're ready, they will join the next person that invites them. It should be you. I have a good friend from California who I invited and followed up with for so long. And then I just got tired of it. And I was like, meh, whatever, moving on. And I stopped. Wouldn't you know that she is like a freaking thriving coach? She didn't just join as a customer. She joined as a stupid coach. And wouldn't you even know that she was a success starter, meaning she hit Success Club in her first 3 months in the business. And wouldn't you know, she was in the 9-week control freak test group because of it. I know the pain firsthand of not following up with somebody and then they join someone else. And so because of that, I will just continue to follow up because I never know when you're ready. For me, it's an act of love. I think it's far worse to send somebody that message and say, hey girl, want to join my boot camp? And then you never say anything ever again. To me, that sounds ickier than saying, hey girlfriend, I so appreciate all the love you're always pouring on me. You're amazing. If you ever want to join my sisterhood, like there is a spot for you. Let me know. I'd love to send you more info. And then 2 days later, I say, hey sis, I know things get so busy. Did you happen to see my message? I don't want to miss you. And then a week later say, okay, I'm going to guess it's not the right time for you. Here's my favorite recipe that I sent my sisterhood last week. Enjoy it. And I'll check back in next month and see if it's a better time for you. And then next month I come back, hey sis, I just want to keep you in the loop. I've got a new boot camp kicking off and I'd love to have you in it. I really think you'd love the vibe of my sisterhood. Is this a better time? Is this month a better time? Do you see how that's an act of love? I'm not in there like, hello, anybody home, right? I'm not like that. I'm like, I'm genuinely interested in if they want to join me. And I'm genuinely concerned that maybe my message got lost in the shuffle. And I'm also leaving a good taste in their mouth, right? Hey, I get it. It might not be the right time for you. Here's a recipe I'm loving right now. And I send them a link. Would you be so mad about that? Is that bothering someone? If that is, then I don't know what. One thing I love to do, and this is because I personally work my business in terms of inviting and tracking like follow-ups and invites. I do that Monday through Friday. That's what I do. Guys, when I built this business and started, I worked 7 days a week doing it. And weekends were truly when I could actually like really do a lot of work on my business. So weekends, I was always inviting and whatnot, right? Now in my business, I don't do as much on the weekends unless there's like a big launch coming or something, or I'm at a deadline or whatever, right? So right now, something I love doing, and I call it Friday follow-ups, but you can call it Saturday or Sunday follow-ups, like you do what you need to do for your season. But a Friday follow-up is I take my tracker, because remember, I'm doing my notebook and I'm tracking. And anybody who is pink means they wanted more info. Anybody who is not highlighted means they didn't reply. Anybody who's blue tells me not right now. And then if they're green, they got their challenge pack and ordered, and then that's it. So what I do on Fridays is I go through. If they aren't highlighted, that means they didn't reply. So I'm going to go back through on Fridays and I do mass follow-ups. Hey, Jamie, I know the week probably got really crazy and I'm so excited for the weekend and the chance to unwind. I'm sure you are too. I just wanted to pop in and see if you saw my last message and if you wanted info on this. I'd love to send it your way. Right? No reply. I'm not going to assume they hate me. I'm not going to assume that they want me to stop asking them. I'm not going to make up these false narratives, you guys. We do it to ourselves. They don't say any of these things. We say it. And so I'm not going to make any of that up. I'm literally going to check in. They didn't reply to me. I'm going to say, did you see my message? And if they don't reply again, cool. It's all good. Right? If they've replied, I'm going to follow up where we left off. So for example, Tammy here. She replied last week. And so today, or not today, Friday, I picked it up where we left off, talking about, if she's ever tried Beachbody workouts before, if she has, what's her experience. And so I was able to do that. And then somebody like Crystal, she had a share cart out. So I was able to reply with her about, hey, like, do you know when you're going to be able to purchase your share cart? I just want to make sure that I get you plugged into the sisterhood. So I follow up with wherever I've left off. But my color coding system allows me to know quickly on Fridays what I need to say. Did they get the email? Did they fill out the form? Are they ready to pick their pack and pick out flavors, right? Like I can easily go in and work my business and just be super productive, right? And efficient. You don't have to call it Friday follow-ups. That's just what I like to do. But find if one day works for you and do follow-up blitz, perfect. If it works for you to do a little bit every day, like every other day you go in and you follow up with the people from the day before that didn't reply or whatever, again, you have to try systems. If you are unwilling to try to find a follow-up system that works for you, you're not going to get far in this business. You have to just try stuff. The reason Friday follow-ups work for me right now is because I've tried so many other things, and that's just a good flow for me, right? Monthly follow-ups too happen for anybody who's had past interest. So you can start your month always by following up. It's still kind of the top of June. You can go back and you can look at, okay, maybe not May, but look at April. Who in April said they were ready and then they never joined? Those are the people you should start June off with. And as you grow your business and more months down the road, you'll have more and more months backed up of past interest that you can follow up with. But following up, you guys, is literally why most of you are here, because someone followed up with you long enough to get you to the position that you're in. Whether it was that you didn't see the message and they checked back in, or they came back a month later and just kept following up month after month after month with you, or maybe they sent you an email and you never got it and you were too afraid to tell them that you didn't get it, or you forgot that they sent it. And so them coming back in and saying, hey, did you get the email? Jogged that for you to say, actually, no, I didn't. And then they were able to resend it. And now you're here, right? Following up is an act of love, and it's a part of your job. It's why it's the fortune. When I look at the people who joined me last month, they are not the first invite. They are follow-ups. They're people I've built relationships with for a long time. So that's the longest Zoom I've ever done for you guys. I'm so, it's like midnight in some of your time zones. But I really hope that it was jam-packed with just some information about how this part of your tracker doesn't need to be a watching part. Like, let's go back to Trent Shelton at the beginning. The watchers, the wishers, the workers. You guys, this first part says take care of you first. You learned how to not watch other people take care of themselves. You learned how to, I'm sure at some point you watched somebody long enough that you wished you could take care of yourselves the way that they were doing. And so you got so sick of it that you said, you know what, why not me? I'm going to take care of me. And you became a worker for this. And then down here, social media. You probably watched people on social media post and share their journey and do all these things. And at some point, you probably started to wish, like, oh man, I wish I was that courageous. I wish I could do a video. I wish I could show my workout moves. I wish I could take a picture like that and not be scared to actually be in the photo, right? I wish. But then now you're turning into workers, where you're the ones doing the journey on social media. So now it's time to look at your income producing activities. Are you just watching other coaches do it? Are you wishing that you could do it? Or are you practicing it? It takes practice. The efficiency I have today is from hours and hours and hours and hours of attempts, right? And all of you have that in you. If you had it in you to become a worker for your health, then you have it in you to become a worker for your dreams in this business too. So